Hello there, guys. What is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Chelsea 1, Manchester United 2. That sort of is my reaction to it. Really irritating game, irritating result. I think just the way the game played out, it wasn't a very it was a very strange game in a lot of ways. There wasn't a lot of chances in the game. And when you think that United's two goals, one of them's a penalty and one of them is a worldy free kick, it sort of is hard to take. But then on the other side, I don't think we created enough in the game to say that we were, all over United and deserve something from the game. So it's one of those games you sort of expect this season, that Chelsea, especially with a younger side, and especially with fringe players coming into the side who haven't played as much football, that you can get done on a night like this, and United were able to get out with the result basically with their first team. I don't think it's all doom and gloom though. I think there are some positives to take that I'll touch on. I was quite surprised by the team selection, I have to be honest. To see both Jorginho and Kovacic start was a surprise to me, but as Lampard had alluded to in his post-match interview, there isn't a lot of options, and quite clearly, even though Barkley trained with the squad, it's quite clear he isn't ready. And of course, Kante's out. Ruben's is not ready yet. I think he clearly wanted to give Mason a rest. So Jorginho and Kovacic make up two of the three midfielders. The other one is Billy Gilmore. Good to see him start. Mark Guehi as well, starting alongside Kurt Zouma. Reece James and Marcus Alonso started. That did surprise me. Batshuayi up front and Pulisic and HUDSON-ODOI on the wings. And it was, as I say, a pretty weird game. United basically put out their first side. There was, I think with the exception of, I think Brandon Williams was the one player who I think has just broken into the side at United. So that pretty much was a first team from United. I think Solskjaer knew that this was a big game for him, that he needed to win. So they started with that. But to be honest, you wouldn't have been able to tell if you actually watched the game in open play, because there was very little between the sides. It was a pretty Chelsea trying to break down United, trying to get a connection, but there wasn't much there. We were going quite direct. I think some of that was because of the change of keeper. Caballero isn't as good with the ball at his feet as Kepa is, so we were hoofing it quite long a lot of the time, trying to get it towards Batshuayi, but Batshuayi's strength is not holding up the ball. We played the striker that is least capable of hold-up play physically like that. Jerome, Tammy are better at that, so that was a bit frustrating. The first half, our passing wasn't good enough, and eventually it led to them getting a penalty, Alonso making a mistake. I thought Alonso had a really poor night tonight, and it's a shame because he's been on such a decent run of form. I wouldn't say he's been exceptional compared to some of the other defenders, but he had that goal against Newcastle. He's found a bit of form. He looks resurgent in some games, but tonight he showed all of his flaws. I think tonight he just didn't get going at all tonight. Like a few players, I'm not pinning that all on Alonso, but here he makes a mistake, and as you see so often with defenders, they try and a bit like Zuma on the opening day against Rashford, they try and atone for that mistake, and he goes into the back of James, and it's a penalty. Rashford, and despite United's lack of potency at penalties this year, of course they do put this one in the back of the net. And pretty much the first half phased out. Once again, there wasn't a lot going on. United was sitting deep. They weren't able to get it up to James and Rashford that often. There was not a lot of play to be had up our end, and we weren't making barely any chance. I don't think we made one chance in the first half. I might be proven wrong on that, but second half we came out and we upped our game finally. We started moving the ball forward a lot more crisper. Jorginho, Kovacic, I thought Gilmore was able to get into the game a lot more. He was driving forward with the ball a lot more. He was maybe sitting a little deeper in the first half. He appeared to be able to take the ball, and that balance in midfield looked a lot better to me. Pulisic and HUDSON-ODOI started to get into the game a lot more, and we started creating not chances, not clear-cut chances, but pressuring that United defence, pushing it back. But there was a lot of times where we'd build up play, get a ball into the box and no one was there, and that was a frustration for fans with Michy Batshuayi. He wasn't having a good night. And then Tammy's name started being sung at around, I think it was 54, 57 minutes. And literally a couple minutes later, Michy Batshuayi takes the ball, takes it past Maguire, all on his own, and smashes it into the bottom corner, limbs into Matthew Harden-Lower. What an exceptional solo goal that was. Michy really answering criticism there. And we were back in the game, and it felt like, to me, we were going to go on and win the game. I felt that the momentum was on our side. United once again weren't offering barely anything up top, and we were starting to press them back. And then Frank brought on Mason and Tammy and Pedro sort of at different times, and you sort of felt like Chelsea can go on to win this game now, with especially likes of Mason coming on. But then we give away a foul. Pedro gives away a foul. And it's funny, where I was sat in Matthew Harden-Lower, I was literally directly behind the free kick. And it was one of those, the type of free kick it is, when a player hits it, you can pretty quickly tell if he's hit it well or not. And it was one of those, you just knew the loop, the spin, the direction of the ball. It's a world-class free kick. And it goes in the top corner. Rashford, absolutely steps up and scores a stunning goal. And as Lampard said in his post-match interview, what are you going to do with that? You can't legislate for stuff like that in a game. Unfortunately, yes, giving away the foul in that position is dangerous, but I've seen Rashford take a lot of free kicks recently, and they've gone nowhere near the goal. So yeah, that is frustrating, but it's just a Worldie goal. You can't constitute something like that. And once again, it's two set pieces, a free kick, which is just a stunning piece of solo brilliance at a free kick from Rashford, and a penalty. And we seem to just lose all ideas from there. The intricate, nice play that had been there previously seemed to drain out of our game, and United were able to concede silly fouls, do sort of game management, as you like to call it. And we really just weren't able to get any chances. Tammy and Mason weren't able to get into the game, and it phased out, and it's really frustrating. I guess sort of the positive for me, Gurhi, I thought played really well tonight. I thought he didn't have a lot to do, to be fair, because United didn't do a lot of attacking, but when he was asked, I think he made good decisions, and I think that would be a good thing for him. He clearly looked upset at full time, but I think that's a good 90 minutes for him. Gilmour, I thought, improved in the second half, and I'm sure we'll be happy with his display, especially in the second half. It was great seeing Jorginho of the captaincy. I think we may see a lot more of that. I thought it was another decent night. Reece James, I don't think, played that well. But when he did get the chance in the second half, especially when we were pushing forward, there was chances where he's putting balls into the box. But it was, great to see him out there. I feel on the other side, I think Alonso, as I've expressed before, really poor to me. Just it didn't do much right tonight. HUDSON-ODOI had one of his poorest games in a Chelsea shirt to me. Just nothing was seeming to come off tonight, which is, he is 18 years old. I think that's what a lot of us forget about his age. He is going to have these games still. People just expect he's going to turn up and put out 10 out of 10s every game. He's not. He's going to have ebbs and flows, as all young players do, a bit like Pulisic tonight. You're going to expect that from a player of his age. So really, there's no point. I get frustrated when I see on Twitter, as obviously people reacting and going in on players. Criticism is fair, for a player of HUDSON-ODOI's ability. I mean, he didn't have a good night tonight, but that was frustrating that we just weren't able to get any of those attacking players really flowing and working well and really getting at United team. And that's the frustration, is United basically put their first team out, and I thought that we could have got at them tonight, and they didn't look that impressive to me. And this is not me being bitter. They very much came to defend. They defended well, and they won, and they scored with an amazing goal. One of the best goals you're going to see this season. It's an amazing free kick. No complaints about that. But it's just frustration, I think, from my point. Our passing wasn't good enough. We didn't create enough chances to break them down. And it's a cup competition that we go out, and it's that chance of silverware that's really frustrating. And it's a chance to get one back at United, and also Lampard to get his first win against a Big Six side. But it's one of these things, isn't it, with the League Cup? You're sort of like, if you get deep in it, you're like really happy, and there's a chance of silverware. But if you get knocked out in the early rounds, you sort of go, it's not the end of the world. The frustration, I think, for Lampard and some of the younger players, fringe players like Gilmour and Gurhi, will be there isn't enough time until probably January in the FA Cup to get substantial minutes. And I think that's a bit upsetting, because if we would have got through, I think there would have been a real chance for those two players especially to get more minutes. But we move on to Watford now. We've got to bounce back. Let's hope we can continue our league winning run. against Watford. So my hope is that the team will bounce back. I think they've bounced back well this season already. So that's the expectation, and that's the hope that we can get back into some form. And yeah, it's just irritating, isn't it, to lose to Manchester United again. And just the way the game played out, it was a bit of a nothing game, really. And it was one of those games that a young, naive side like Chelsea at times are going to get mugged, and we've seen that already this season. But we move on. We move on under Lampard. We've had some amazing days recently, so I can't complain that much. In truth, it's just really annoying losing to a team like United, especially at home, and the chance of silverware going. But those are my thoughts on the game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. Hit that like button. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.